I think the environment just needs to be made a lot safer all around. And a lot of people don't have the support that they need to get through performing at that level at such a young age, but also dealing with some of the things that the survivors who've come forward. And there's not a word for how devastating that is to hear about. And so therapists, I think there should be parents allowed to be wherever they want to be in any work environment. I'm glad that this conversation is happening here and also in the world, because it's also just kind of a cultural shift that's happening where it's not just actors and singers and whatever. If you ask anyone who's ever worked ever, if they've ever been sort of like, dealt with a boss that had a really bad ego and temper and whatever.
Hello and welcome to Influencer Police, a place where we expose the lies, the cheating, and the dirty ways of these filthy influencers. Today's suspect, Ariana Grande, finally talks about her time on Victorious and child acting as a whole while she was on Penn Badgley's podcast. I'm Chief Coconut, and today I'll be going solo. So everyone is talking about how Ariana Grande finally speaks on her thoughts on child acting, her time on Victorious, and kind of her thoughts on Quiet on Set. Now, it's been a good minute since Quiet on Set aired, but if you don't know what you don't know, Quiet on Set basically was this documentary that kind of showed the exploitation of children as child actors and kind of just really creepy situation children would be put in front of with Dan Schneider and other cast of characters, and just unsafety on sets, inappropriate jokes, the whole shabam. Go watch it if you can. But a lot of people noticed that none of the Victorious cast was on this documentary. No one spoke out from the Victorious cast, and a lot of people thought that was interesting because Victorious was one of the worst contenders of making the child actors do really inappropriate things. So I think a lot of people have wanted to hear their side of the story, and they were disappointed that none of them were on this Quiet on Set doc. But people have really, really, really been wanting Ariana Grande specifically to talk about this because she is such a big performer. She has such a big platform, and she's been in the industry forever. Ever since she was like 8 years old, she started to perform. So we really wanted to hear Ariana's thoughts. And some of us were like, is she not speaking about this because of NDAs she signed or contracts, she can't speak? And I don't think that she really went full go talking about this on Penn Badgley's podcast, but she did definitely say a lot more than she has, and it was interesting to see what she said. To sum it up, she basically said that there needs to be a lot more safety for kids on these sets. Parents should be able to go wherever they want. Children in this industry, singing or acting, they should have mandatory therapist sessions at least twice or 3 times a week for mental health and check-ins. And she said there needs to be a lot more precautions on set, and that she's still processing her whole childhood in the industry, and she's still processing her thoughts on this all. But because I can't play all the clips because of copyright, there is an article from Entertainment Weekly that kind of say a lot of the quotes that she said during this podcast, and I want to read them to you because I think it's really important to know what Ariana Grande said and her thoughts on this whole thing, since we've all been waiting such a long time for her to speak about this. So here's some quotes that she said that I'm reading off of this article. I think that's something that we were convinced was the cool thing about us. That we pushed the envelope with our humor and innuendos. We were told, and convinced as well, that it was the cool differentiation. It all just happened so quickly, and now looking back on some of the clips, I'm like, that's damn, really? She added, and then the things that weren't approved for the network were snuck onto our website. And that is another discovery. But I'm going into it, I guess I'm upset. So basically, she's saying there that the things that weren't approved to be on the show itself, they just snuck onto like the slap.com or, their website. The really, really inappropriate things, probably like the clip of her sucking her toes or squeezing a potato. If you know, you know. On the subject of child acting in general, she continued, my relationship to it has and is currently changing. I'm reprocessing a lot of what the experience was like. I think that the entertainment needs to be safer if kids are going to be acting. And I think there should be therapists. I think there should be parents allowed to be wherever they want to be. Not only on kids' sets. If anyone wants to do this or music or anything at the level of exposure that means to be on TV or to do music with a major label or whatever, there should be in contract something about therapy is mandatory twice a week or thrice a week or something like that. Then the article says the Eternal Sunshine singer also pointed out that young performers are vulnerable to reactions from adults on set, which create, quote unquote, a strange pattern that occurs where it's really taking advantage of how much it means to the young performer to get a laugh from Video Village. Which I can totally agree with her on that point. When you're young and you're a kid and you're super vulnerable, but you really want to impress and please the adults on set, it probably gives you a level of like satisfaction, gratification that you're doing a good job and you're getting, the green light that you're supposed to be here, you're a great actor, that you're making everyone happy. I'm sure that kids do try to go above and beyond to make all the adults laugh and be happy with them, especially if you do have an really, I'll say, mean boss or whoever's on set, like a Dan. I'm sure you're doing whatever you can to please everyone, make them happy, and not come for your throat. So I think that's a good point that Ariana Grande said. These young kids are really like doing everything that they can even imagine to make all the adults pleased. And I think that's just like a really gross concept that kids are even put in these situations at all. And then just everything that was exposed from Quiet on Set really just shows you how corrupt and nasty it is for children. Honestly, probably in any industry, like a working child, I don't even think that should be a thing. I don't think kid actors should be a thing. There's just too many creeps in the world to really regulate it, unfortunately. And it's hard to say that because, when I was younger, I wanted to act and do all that stuff. My parents wouldn't let me. But I remember, looking up to these kids and just wanting to perform. But it's crazy knowing what they all went through and that some of them are just completely traumatized from everything that went down. And it carries with them to this day. So with what Ariana Grande said about, child stars or anyone, even adults, needing therapy or it should be mandatory, I do think that you should have to go to therapy if you are in such like an exposing industry, if you're being exposed to the world on such a high level, if you're going through things that the normal person, can't relate to, doesn't understand. The thing about that is like you really need a good therapist. I mean, yeah, they can assign you therapy, but that doesn't mean you're talking to a good therapist. I personally have gone to therapy for years of my life, and it takes trial and error to find one that you click with, that actually gives you good advice. And just saying, oh yeah, go to therapy, it's not that easy. It's not that easy because you really need one that clicks with you and that understands like what advice you need and can actually help you. So even if like the industry did put that in place, like mandatory therapy, I would fear that they would hire therapists of their interest. Maybe that, if you know what I'm saying, therapists that are basically working for them. So the advice that they're going to give or the support they're going to give isn't going to be the same as if you were to find your own with your best interest in mind. It's a corrupt world, and we just all have to understand that, money talks and money buys, money's power. So people like money. They'll do a lot of dirty things for money. So as much as I agree with Ariana on therapy definitely would help these young children and even adults in this kind of crazy world, there would need to be, I would say, not a therapist provided by them. I would say that they give you the money to go find your own. That would be the only, I think, safe, acceptable way to like force therapy on someone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's mandatory. Then okay, I'm gonna find my own, and you can just give me the money and I'll pay for it. You know what I'm talking about? Do you guys agree with me on that one? But anyways, I found it super interesting that she finally talked about this because, like I said, we've all been waiting a long, long time for her to say her thoughts on it. Now, I definitely think she played it safe in what she said on this podcast. I don't think that what she said was super groundbreaking. It was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, I mean, it's something that like everyone could say. It was kind of shallow surface. It didn't really dig that deep. But I do appreciate her finally saying something, finally acknowledging the movement. And she even said that, this doesn't just happen in, Hollyweird. This happens to anyone at any job. SA could happen, or, these bad things, bad bosses. So she's acknowledging that we all go through like some bad shit sometimes, and that there does need to be a change and people need to be held accountable. So anyways, I'm super glad she finally said something. I wish she said a little more and she gave us a little more, but maybe for like NDAs and contracts, she can't dig that deep into it. Or maybe like she said, she's still processing it and she's not ready to really delve that deep into it herself. She really needs to process it. We know she's been like super busy with a bunch of stuff going on, Wicked, her new album, all that stuff. So maybe she really hasn't sat down and thought about it. I don't know. But yeah, let me guys know what you think about this. What she said. What do you think about it? Do you think she could have given us more? Do you understand that she's still processing it? What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Let me know. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 10K. We'd really, really appreciate it. I've appreciated all the support that you guys have given me over the past week. Super, super grateful. Thank you all for being here. Please like this video to help boost the algorithm. That really helps us out. And please hit the notification button so you never miss a video. I finally spoke out about my childhood, and I didn't say that much, but I've said something. What do you think? You should provide therapy. I need therapy. Please provide therapy for kids and adults. I'm still processing it. It was a lot. Please tell me your thoughts. Subscribe.